It's Pastor Joel here. I've been working downstairs in my workshop. I have a couple projects on the go, and I was thinking, when our daughters were in high school, I'd drive them, and as they would get out of the car, I'd say, "Go mad!" Their friends looked at them like really strange. What's your dad saying? But our daughters knew, "Go mad" meant go make a difference. Well, we're starting this new project of going extremely mad. We want you to go make a difference. Go make a difference God's way. Go mad. Go make a difference God's way. Go mad. There was one thing that Jason loved to do. No, it wasn't wasn't brushing his teeth, and no, it wasn't doing homework. He really wasn't fond of cleaning his room either, but there was this one thing Jason loved to do. Jason, man, he loved to go skateboarding. Man, if he had his own way, he could like go skateboarding all of the time, but he had to do his chores at home, and he had to do other work of that. Whenever it was possible, Jason, he would go down to the skate park there, and he would try and ride the rails. But it seemed like just when he was coming up to do a trick, man, he would back down because he didn't want to get hurt. Well, this one man, Jeff Smith, he would like come down to the skate park at noon hour. You see, Jeff was rated for number 2 in skateboarding in all of Canada. Man, he loved to go skateboarding, but now that he got this new job, couldn't be at the park all the time. In fact, he had to wear a suit. He'd much prefer being in a pair of runners and being on the board, but he was really glad that he had this job. And he would come there and he'd watch the kids. They would do a slide off the rail, and man, they would do a toe flip. And man, he was right there all the time. And in his mind, he could just see them doing that. And he would watch the kids and just enjoy it. And when he was finished his lunch hour, he'd brush the crumbs from his suit and go back to work. Well, this one day, Jeff was down there watching, and he happened to see this young man, this boy, and like kind of recognized him. So he called him, "Hey, come on over. I want to speak to you." So Jason comes riding over there, and he kind of stops and says, "Yeah?" And Jeff goes, "Hey, I recognize you. You're from church. Cool." And Jason looked at him. Jeff says, "Excuse me." He said, "Let me introduce. I'm Jeff Smith. You probably didn't recognize me in this suit." And Jason goes, "Oh yeah, you came and spoke to our youth group about living for Jesus and how you live for Jesus, and you were doing some skateboarding." "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, that is like so cool." Jeff said, "It is like totally awesome that you're going to church there with your parents. Like that is like so rad. That is like so cool." So he goes, "But yeah, I've been watching you, and you've got some pretty good moves. But hey, not to belittle you or anything like that, but man, it's just like when you get to the top of that rail, you just kind of freeze." And Jason goes, "Yeah, man, I get so, I think I'm gonna hurt myself, and so I just back off. I just back down from doing the tricks." Well, he goes, "You know what? It is really cool that you wear your equipment." Yeah. Jason said, "Yeah, my parents make me wear the equipment. Man, sometimes it gets like so hot in here." Jason goes, "Man, I know what you mean. Man, I have like taken a couple of whacks on the head myself, and it's a good thing that I have my helmet on. You need to protect your old noggin. Catch my drift?" Jason says, yeah, for sure. And Jeff goes, man, you got some pretty good moves going there. You should be able to handle it yourself. In fact, you could probably go to a competition. Jason says, competition? I don't think so. I'm not that good. And Jeff goes, hey, you know what? With a little bit of coaching, maybe you could go to the comp. And he goes, Jason says, what are you saying? Well, I mean, if I could arrange my schedule and I could come down here after, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoons, I could do some coaching. Jason says, for real? I mean, you want to be my coach? I mean, like, for real? Yeah, man, yeah, sure, bro, I'd like to do that. Matter of fact, I'd be stoked to be your coach. Hey, but you check with your parents and see if it's okay. Jason thought, yeah, it'll be okay. For sure it'll be okay. But I'll check with my parents. Hey, if you check with your parents, Jeff said, let me know. He pulled out his card and he says, here's my business card. Give me a jingle. And if it's okay, we'll hang together. I'll teach you some tricks there. Who knows where it's going to go? I mean, look at me. Look what God did in my life. I mean, I got to be second in all of Canada on the skateboard. Yeah, so let me know. Jason was sure that his parents would say, yeah, that it would be okay. So he goes home and he tells them how that this man from church, Jeff Smith, wanted to be his coach on the skateboard. His parents said, well, that's cool, but you still have your chores to do. Oh, man. And his dad says, no chores, no skateboarding. Jason thought, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. Yeah, okay. And so he got the chores done. His parents said it was okay. And he contacted Jeff and says, yeah, I can do that. And Jeff says, cool, man. This is going to be like so awesome. Man, I get to coach you and we're going to see what this is going to do. He said, tell you what, bring your gear and let's show up there after in the afternoons. And at 4 o'clock, I get off work here. Once I get out of the fancy threads, I'll meet you at the skate park and we'll just hang out together and see what will happen. Well, Jason was like, man, this is totally radical. Man, this is awesome. I get to hang out with like number 2 in all of Canada on the skateboard, and he's a Christian. Man, this is like so totally awesome. So they were getting there and started out there. Jeff says, okay, let's see what you can do. Jason got on the board and he pushed off and he started to come up to the rail and man, he backed down. And Jeff says, Jason, come here. He says, I know what you're thinking. You don't want to hurt yourself. I understand that. Man, I've taken a couple of really good whacks. Well, tell you what. Let's just have fun. Just be yourself. Just confident. All you need to do is just have some confidence. Just don't back. Yeah, I know you're a little bit afraid of hurting yourself. What you need is some more padding. Jason's thought, more padding? What do you mean? He says, look here, a little bit more padding would boost your confidence. This is what you do. Go to the thrift store and buy an old pair of jeans. Get them a little bit bigger than your normal size there. Just get them a little bit bigger. Hey, but you don't want them so low that they're hanging off your hips like some wannabe punk. And then go to the fabric store and buy some foam and get your mom to sew it into the hips and onto the shins. I'll give you some confidence. Get a bigger shirt. Sew some padding into that so that when you fall, you're not going to really hurt yourself. Hey, and if your mom can't sew, well, find somebody in the church who could do that. And then, as they're sewing, pay them some money. Give them some money for that job. And the other thing, if you fall and you haven't broken anything, just get up and laugh at yourself and just enjoy it. Come on, let's try some tricks. And so they were starting to do some tricks, and before long, Jason was getting pretty good. And with the help and with the coaching of Jeff, man, he was doing really, really good. One day, they were taking a break. Jason, why don't you just ask God? Say, God, would you give me the confidence to do my best on this old board? And who knows? Look where God took me when I was skateboarding. And so Jason prayed. He says, God, just help me to do my best and help me to learn. And yeah, he got the new padding, and he was feeling quite a bit better with the new padding there. And yeah, when he did take a whack, or when he did take a fall, no big deal. He wasn't broken all up there. He'd get up and just laugh at himself and say, let's try it again. And that's what he did. Well, by the end of the summer, it was the competition. And Jason was a little bit nervous. And Jeff saw him there. He comes over to him. He goes, hey, man, how's it going? How's it going, bro? And Jason said, well, I'm just a little bit nervous about this competition. He said, oh, don't get warped over it. Don't fret about the event. Just go out and have fun. Just enjoy yourself. Just do your best. Just honor God in it. And, let the judges decide what they want to do. Jason got out there and he rode the rails and he did the toe flips, and man, he did so good. And when they tallied up the score, Jason came in 5th place in the comp. Well, not too bad for a newbie. And Jeff comes over to him, gives him a high five and says, way to go, bro. Man, like that, you totally stomped that thing. Man, it's so awesome. Man, I'm proud of you. Man, you did a great job. And Jason says, thanks, Jeff. If it wasn't for you, man, I certainly wouldn't have been here. Thanks for giving me the hit or the tips about just being myself, just having fun. Yeah. The end of the summer came and Jason had to bag the board. He would have much preferred being on the ramps and at the park all of the time, but his parents insisted that he do his schoolwork. And like Jeff had said, man, it's important to do your schoolwork. It's important to do your best at it. And you want to make sure that you're in church all of the time. So on Saturdays and Sundays now, Jeff would not be at the skate park. But sometimes after school, he would meet up with Jason and they would do some riding. Halfway through the school, Mrs. Franklin stood up and she wrote on the chalkboard, "You have made a difference in my life." And then she called up all of the kids one by one, and they came up there and they stood in front of the desk, in front of the class, and the teacher would make a positive comment about what she had seen or what she had heard about each student. And then each of the students, she gave them a blue ribbon. And on the blue ribbon it says, "You have made a difference." Wow. Some of the kids were a little bit embarrassed by what she said. Finally, she came to Jason and she said, "Jason, Jason, Jason, what can I say about you?" A couple of the boys in the back of the room started to snicker and go, Not much. Well, Mrs. Franklin ignored the comment and she said, Jason, what I have noticed about you is that you do your best all of the time. You give it 100%, and even when it's difficult, you still try to do your best in that. That virtue, Jason, will take you a long way. Jason didn't know what virtue meant, but it did sound like a good thing. And she said, Jason, with that attitude, that positive attitude of doing your best, whatever you're asked to do, that, you'll go a long way with that. And then she very gently pinned a blue ribbon onto Jason. He looked at it. You make a difference. Wow. He was a little bit embarrassed by the kind things that she said, but then so was the rest of the kids. After everybody had stood in front of Mrs. Franklin, she says, now, what we're going to do is we are going to take the next hour to do this project. She says, on my desk, I have 3 pieces of felt. And I've got some gold glitter paint here. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to write with the gold, you have made a difference. Mrs. Franklin says, once you have made the blue ribbons, I want you to go and give them to somebody who's made a difference in your life, who's helped you out. And then I want you to have them pass on the other ribbons and come back next week. We'll talk about it, let's just say next Wednesday. Well, I just want to find out where those blue ribbons, who you gave them to. What was their response? This one boy says, I can't think of anybody who has helped me. And Mrs. Franklin says, well, if you can't think of anybody who's helped you, well, give one to your mom. I mean, she makes supper for you every night and she's fed you well. And she kind of took a look down at the boy's stomach and he kind of had this crazy smile on his face because he knew that he was doing quite well in the eating department thanks to his mom. Now, if you finish ahead of time, you can go back to get some books out of the library and you can read them quietly. Well, some of the boys, they were in a big hurry and they got it down within like 5 minutes. Then they had to go back and read for the next hour. Some of the others took the whole period to decorate their ribbons. Jason, he wasn't so crafty. And so what he did was, it took him 15 minutes and he did the best he could and he wrote, you have made a difference. You make a difference. Even on one of them he put a smiley face. Well, he's kind of proud of himself. Once he had finished, he went back to the library and he found some books on skateboarding and they had some really, really cool action shots. And he enjoyed just reading and looking at the pictures of skateboards. Well, after school, Jason was wondering, well, who could I give my blue ribbons to? As he's walking down the road, all of a sudden he hears a honk on the car. And he looked up and it was Jeff Smith. He goes, yeah, I'll give it to Jeff Smith. I mean, he helped me with my coaching. He helped me to do some tricks. He gave me some confidence. Yeah, I'll tell him. So, Jeff rolls down the window and Jason was running up to him and he's a bit out of breath and he goes, oh! And Jeff says, yo, bro, how you been doing? Haven't been seeing you for a while there. Been missing you on the ramps and on the boards. Jason says, yeah, I've been a little bit busy. With schoolwork and going to church and all of that, but hey, you got a moment? Jeff says, kind of in a hurry, bro, today. Can't hang with you tonight either. Got this big project to do. And Jason says, Jeff, can you give me just a couple of minutes? Oh yeah, sure, I can give you a couple of minutes here, but no boarding tonight. Sorry, can't help you there. He goes, our teacher said these really, really kind things about us, and she gave us these blue ribbons, and then we were supposed to make a blue ribbon, and we're supposed to give it to somebody who's made a difference in our life, and Mr. Smith, hey, it's Jeff. Jason goes, my bad. He goes, Jeff, you helped me out so much with the coaching. Jeff goes, yeah, man, I was honored to do that. I was stoked to do that. Anyways, Jason said, you helped me out so much, and we're supposed to give you one of these blue ribbons here because you've helped out. And, Jeff held it up to his suit and goes, hey, it does these fancy threads pretty good, yeah. He goes, thanks, bro. Thanks, bro, for considering me. And then he says, Jeff, I've got these other 2 blue ribbons. Can you give them to somebody who's made a difference in your life and then pass it on? We're supposed to talk about it next week to see what happened with the blue ribbons. Yeah, sure, I can do that. Hey, and thanks again. Thanks again, bro, for giving me this blue ribbon, for considering it. Jeff got back in his car and he drove away. As Jeff pulled into the parking lot, he's thinking, who has made a difference in my life? Who could I give the blue ribbons to? And as he pulled into the parking lot ready to go back to work, all of a sudden he saw Mr. Green, who is the boss of the company. And he goes, yeah, Mr. Green hired me when no one else believed in me. I'll give him the ribbon. So at break time, Jeff goes in and he knocks on the door to Mr. Green's office. Mr. Green seemed to have this gruff voice, and he says, yeah? What can I do for you? And Jeff says, Mr. Green, can I talk to you for a moment? Yeah. Well, come on in and have a seat there. What's on your mind there, son? And he goes, he goes, there's this boy I helped do some skateboarding, and I helped coach him, and he did pretty good at that. And he gave me this blue ribbon that says, you've made a difference. And I'm supposed to give it to somebody who's made a difference in my life. And when I saw you getting out of your car, I thought, you have made a difference. You were the only one who believed in me. Mr. Green goes, yeah, I saw something there in you. I really did. And Jeff goes, a lot of people just thought I was just like a lazy skateboarder. But you. He goes, yeah, for being second in all of Canada, I figured that you would be a hard worker. And yeah, he said, I did see something in you. And he goes, Jeff goes, Mr. Green, I'd be honored if you would take one of these blue ribbons and because you've helped me out. And Mr. Green goes, all right, I could do that. And Mr. Green was thinking, yeah, that's cool. And he goes, hey, just as Jeff was starting to go, he said, Jeff, just sit that down for a moment. He says, now I've been thinking. He says, you're a really good worker and you work really, really hard. And even before you gave me this blue ribbon, and I kind of like it, I've been thinking that I was going to give you a raise, Not because I'm feeling sorry for you, or not because you're trying to butter me up with the blue ribbon, but I think you deserve it. I'm going to give you a raise. And then Jeff said, Sir, I don't know what to say, but thank you so much for giving me a raise. I really appreciate that. And he says, now would you take another blue ribbon and would you give it to someone who's made a difference in your life? The week kind of passed, and Jason hadn't seen Jeff, and he was really busy with schoolwork, and on Saturday it rained, so he couldn't even go skateboarding that day, and so he tackled a big job. He had to clean his room. But he got it done. And so on Sunday, he didn't get to see Jeff to ask him what happened to the blue ribbon. But he knew that they were going to get together on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. When Jason arrived at the park, he had his gear, and Jeff had already had his gear on. He'd taken off his suit, and he put his runners on. He had his board. He was just getting warmed up there. And he says, Yo, bro! Yo, my man, Jason, good to see you. He says, are you ready to do some boarding? And Jason sat down on the bench and started to get out his gear and his helmet and stuff like that. And Jeff says, before we start, man, I gotta tell you what happened to those blue ribbons. Like, when you gave it to me, I was thinking, who could I give this blue ribbon to? And I thought about giving it to my boss, Mr. Green. And I went in there and I told him about your project and your experiment. And man, he took the blue ribbon and he held it up against his suit. And he even gave me a raise. And Jason says, you got a raise? Oh, cool, far out. And Jeff says, but that's not the best of the story. Just sit here, listen to this. So I gave it to Mr. Green and I said, Mr. Green, you've made a difference. Now, would you pass on the blue ribbon to somebody else? Well, this is what happened. Mr. Green, he forgot all about the blue ribbons. And as he pulled into the driveway at night, he got out of the car, there he saw Bruce Jr.'s bike. And he goes, yes, I will give that blue ribbon to Bruce Jr. So he comes in and he gave his wife a kiss, and then he calls, Bruce Jr. He didn't even realize he was having that gruff voice. Bruce, come down here. I want to talk to you. It's really important. And Bruce Jr. comes walking down. Yeah, what is it you want? He flopped on the couch there. What is it you want? Mr. Green almost corrected him about, not showing respect, but he chose not to. He says, Bruce, other than your mom, you're the most important thing in my life. All of a sudden, Bruce Jr. broke into a cry and he started to sob. His dad didn't know what was the matter. And Bruce Jr. goes, You really mean it? You really mean that I'm really important to you? Well, I haven't really said it like I should in the last couple of years. I've been rather busy with the company. But Bruce, you mean so much to me and to your mom. You've made a difference in my life. Once more, Bruce Jr. started crying and just weeping all over the place, and he says, Dad, you really mean this? You're not jiving with me, are you? You really think that I'm important to you? He says, oh, son, you're so important to me. He goes, Dad, I didn't think that you loved me. I didn't think that you even cared for me. I didn't think that I made any difference to you. In fact, I was going to kill myself tonight. I was going to commit suicide because I didn't think that you loved me. I didn't think that you cared for me. Now his dad
dad and his mom were crying. Oh, come here, son. He says, please don't do that. Please don't do that. We need you. We want you here. And Bruce Jr. moved out of the hug and he went upstairs and he came down with the note and he says, Dad, I had already written the note to say goodbye. But when you're saying that you need me and you want me, then I guess I don't need this. And he ripped up the note. And his dad wrapped him in a hug. He said, oh, Bruce. Bruce. He said, we love you. We love you. You have made a difference in my life. And then he got the ribbon out and he pinned it upon Bruce Jr. He said, this man in my work gave me this blue ribbon and said I made a difference because I hired him. And I was supposed to pass on the blue ribbons to somebody else. He said, son, he said, you have made a difference. You have made a difference. Once more, all three of them gathered into a hug and began to cry. As Jeff was telling the story and Jason was listening, he was sitting like rock still. And when he found out that the blue ribbon caused Bruce Jr. not to commit suicide, man, the tears were like starting to run down his own face as they were sitting on the park as Jeff was telling the story. And Jeff gets up and he says, let's get ready to do some boarding before we run out of time. As he started to put on the equipment, Jeff goes, and you know what? Come Monday, Mr. Green didn't even show up for work. Someone has said that he had taken Bruce Jr. and went fishing. He's never taken off time like that. And then he saw me this morning. He comes over to me and he didn't have this gruff voice anymore. He grabbed hold of my hand. Jason, Mr. Green grabbed hold of my hand and it was like I almost could see the tears in his eyes. He says, thank you. Thank you for giving me the blue ribbon. And thank you for encouraging me to give it to somebody who's made a difference in my life. They got on their gear. Jason and Jeff were ready to go boarding. And as they were climbing up, starting on the half pike, Jason was thinking, a little piece of blue material. A little piece of blue material that had the words on it, you have made a difference. Change someone's life. Man, words are powerful. The Bible says that words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in settings of silver. In other words, the words of kindness that you speak, the words of encouragement that you speak, even if they were written on a piece of blue felt, those words are worth more than pounds and pounds of gold set in a silver bowl. Words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in settings of silver. Your words of kindness, your words of encouragement may change somebody's life. In fact, it may cause that person to not be led into destruction. Your words your words of encouragement, your words of kindness may be so powerful that they would prevent a person from destroying their life. Speak kindness. Speak words. Again, that verse, it says, words fitly spoken are like apples of gold in settings of silver.
Extreme Challenge!
Hi, this is Charity, and we're here in Gaylord, Michigan for your Extreme Challenge. Have you ever had somebody tell you you've done something good? Well, that's what this Extreme Challenge is all about.
Hey, my name's Dr. Newman, and I have an extreme challenge for you. Tell your friends encouraging words. When they do an awesome trick, tell them they're the bomb, which means they're awesome. Go MAD!
Go make a difference God's way. Go